Hi, I'm Jay Jacobs, and welcome to another episode of Going Beyond the Scale. So, today is Monday. What I like to focus on a Monday is motivation. And that's a big subject. There's a lot you can talk about under the idea of motivation. And I thought it was still going to be helpful, even though this community is still pretty new and young to what we're trying to do with the idea of going beyond the scale. And I know some people might still be a little bit confused. If you go back and you look and read the introduction, you will understand the direction that I'm looking to have this conversation go forward. And the other part was I really wanted to be able to get people what I would call the North Star to the conversation I'm looking to get people to get into for themselves and within the community is a statement that you've heard me say, which is live the life you love and live it well. So I had this idea that if I put together some slides, it might be something for you to think about a little bit differently. So I want to share with you, let's take a look at some of these slides so that I can kind of see where, if I'm really getting across in what I'm sharing from a big perspective, what I'm trying to get across. So going beyond the scale is all about living the life you love and living it well. So there's two things there. And you guys I know you've heard the idea of the chicken or the egg. And the idea of the chicken or the egg is like, which came first? Was it the egg? Was it the chicken? And it's one of those proverbial things that a lot of times people talk about and they're not exactly sure. So I thought, this could be a good visual metaphor to play with as I'm kind of going through and trying to share what I'm trying to get across. Okay, so let's see how this works. So if we look at the idea, if we break this apart and we say the idea that I want you to think about and the kind of content that I want to deliver to you and the kinds of conversations that I would like all of us to get involved with, one part of that is called live the life that you love, okay? And live it well. Very simple, but they're two separate things, okay? Live the life you love and live it well. Now, I don't want you to take what I'm about to show you really literally, but sometimes you need to kind of move things around a little bit so that maybe you have a different perspective. So let's look at this. Another way that you can look at living the life that you love in many terms for any of us is it could be the career you have. It could be the money you have. It could be the house you have, the car you drive, the relationships you have, a general sense of abundance or what you might call the outwardly things. Whether I'm not talking about judgment. This is not whether or not it's good or bad. I'm just saying that a lot of times when somebody's thinking about creating the life that they love, and then other people see what they're doing, like especially in the world of social media, we see lots of pictures of people on vacation and they're traveling, or people are getting together and they're having parties, or they're showing some new possession they've gotten. There's a lot of that goes on that not everybody participates in that, but a lot of people do. And so for right now, for argument's sake of this illustration, what I'm kind of also having you think about is when you look at living the life you love, what does that look like from a wealth perspective, okay? Not money only, but just kind of like how it appears. Let's look at another one. Obviously, at least from my perspective, when I say live it well, I'm talking about your health, talking about your mental health, your physical health. Yes, the numbers and the stats that you have from the doctor when you go see the doctor and they're measuring your cholesterol and they're measuring your blood pressure and any of those kinds of factors. So what I've kind of come to see in my conversations when I'm navigating and working with people is most people are kind of what I would call imbalanced. Some people aren't, but a lot of people are imbalanced. They're taking care of one side of the equation pretty well, and the other one tends to suffer. Or they go back and forth like a seesaw. It goes up and down. Somebody's doing really well, and then they have a stressful event, and then their health goes down, and then they're like, oh, I don't feel well. So then they start doing something with their health, but then they're not paying attention to their other side. So it's kind of this going back and forth. Let's look at another slide. So this is really my question to you. There's no right or wrong, but I want to share this with you because in my conversations with people, I find that most people seem to have a way in which they choose one or the other. And I want you to think about it. You don't have to answer it right here. There's a way at the end I'm going to ask you to share this, but I want you just to think about this. Back to the chicken or the egg. If you were to choose, and some people say, well, I want to do both. Okay, great. If you can do both at the same time, that's like multitasking, that's great. But about 99% of the people that I know don't seem to do both of these at the same time. I think it's a good place to get to. I think it's a great thing for us to work on. And it's one of the things I'm committed to doing so that for myself and for all of us, we're getting more balanced in both of these so it's not like this all the time. But what I want you to really think about is chicken or the egg, which one do you think that you would tend to work with? Here's another way to look at it. If we look at the wealth part and the health part, and you wanted to live the life that you love and live it well, and somebody said, I'm going to support you on one or the other of these, which one do you think you would start with? Because sometimes what I've seen is when some people spend the time figuring out the career that they love, and maybe they're looking to be in a particular relationship, or they're trying to kind of get a foundation for their life, some people seem to be able to concentrate better on that side of it. They say they want to lose weight or they want to exercise, they want to get fit, but for whatever reason, they may say it, but it appears that they need that other grounding of living the life that they love first. I've seen other people that say that they want to create this amazing life, but their health is in horrible shambles. And as much as they want to do that, as long as they're not feeling well and they don't have the energy and they're fatigued, they're in this spot where they can't seem to get that together. So many times you'll see, and sometimes you'll see it through social media, you'll see somebody that for whatever reason, there's a catalyst, some motivation, something inciting incident has happened, and all of a sudden they get themselves on track and they start taking care of their health, they start feeling better, they have more energy, they are more confident, and then what happens is they start creating the life that they love because it's just kind of a natural progression. Let's look at the next slide. So my question is very simple. I know there's a lot of slides and moving back and forth, but what I'm really asking you to do, I want you to think about what comes first for you. It's not right or wrong. It's a preference. And I'm going to tell you that it's important for you to really think about it, because if you don't really get clear about which preference, which thing that you probably will start to do first, you could be having the best intentions, but you're working on something that really you don't know why, but you're stopping, you're starting. You seem to do well, but you fall off track. A lot of what I do when I work with people is I'm getting them to go to the most basic elements and not making them wrong. I'm just trying to get them to start to get clear in their head about what would be their preference. What would they be willing to do? As we go through this, and I'm sharing more things over time, you'll see me bring this up more and more. That's why the other day I brought on Brooke. If you didn't see Brooke, we'll post it again so you can see this conversation I had with her. Brooke is a hypnotherapist. Not a woo-woo trained hypnotherapist. She's someone that has you get clear about what's going on in your head. Not changing your thinking, but she's getting you to realize what is your thinking, what's your subconscious. She said science shows that really most of our life we're at about 98%, 99% living in our subconscious, okay? So that's where this came from. After being with Brooke again and hearing her, I'm like, this idea where I want people to live the life that they love and live it well is great. Great idea, great intention. I think it's a great thing for every person that you could ever meet. If you have your kids, who would not want to have their kids live their life that they love and live well? Who wouldn't want their spouse to do it or their friends? We all would love that. But I think that somehow we need to kind of separate it a little bit, put one in front of the other, and then what we can do eventually is be able to kind of meld those together so it's a nice dance. It makes a lot of sense. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's more where we're not going with highs and lows. Whenever we lost a lot of weight and we feel really good, and then some life event happens, the wheels fall off, we start going downhill real fast, then we got into hiding and shame, feel bad about us. It's just a mess. That's just no way for us to live. And I have lived that way for a lot of my life. It still can happen, but not nearly that as it used to be. And that's what I want to be able to do and support everybody around there. So let's look at the last slide. You don't have to share it in the comments here, because I know this is a very private thing, because I think some people might think that if they mention, well, if I wanted to do, living the life that I love first, somebody might think that I'm only money interested. As I said, this is not wealth from the perspective of just making money. It's that kind of whole capitalism, American way of living that we have for ourselves. That stuff that we kind of, especially when we're younger, it's how we form our identity. So you don't have to share it in the comments. If you want to share it in the comments, that's your choice of prerogative. It's fine. But it's very helpful when you guys share things with me, your thoughts, your ideas, your comments, because what you share helps me see if what I'm sharing with you is valuable, you're getting something, and what am I delivering or what am I missing that I want to be able to share with you. So if there's something that's come out of this that really you're like, oh, you know what? This makes sense. Or if you have some other way that you think makes sense, share it there, send it to me, because as you'll see, as you stay within this community, I'm sharing more things, the content that I deliver is based upon what people are sharing with me and what I'm hearing, so that I can mirror that back and have, hopefully, a bigger effect. This is not about me talking to me, even though it looks that way because I'm doing that right now, looking at myself on the screen. That's not what I'm trying to do. I can do that by myself. All I'm wanting to do is to be able to share with you guys some ideas. It's helpful if you send back how it's landing for you, and then we can keep moving forward with that. So, as always, thank you for your generosity of time. Thank you for being here. And I look forward to coming back tomorrow. As you know, on Tuesday, I'd like to talk about transformation. I have a few things that I'm thinking about and bringing up for tomorrow. I've got to kind of think through those. But once again, I will come back with something that hopefully will touch, move, and inspire you to live the life that you love and live it well. So until tomorrow, have a great evening. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks again.